Okay, let me see. Okay, well. Yeah, Okay, yeah. No, because that was my You cannot use yeah, yeah, I download mine in some.
Can we start?
Okay. What?
Can we start on 5.3 and later switch to 5.0 because it will take so much.
Yeah, I will get that. Like, if we start in 5.3, then you cannot come back to 5.0. That's the thing, you cannot downgrade versions. If you start with a newer version, you cannot go to 5.0. If you start with 5.0, you can migrate to 5.3. So it's actually good that you already have 5.3 because at the end in cinematics you will use 5.3. But I will explain some things that in 5.0 works well because it's the latest updated version that doesn't have any bugs. 5.3 and 5.2, they have some bugs until now because they are the latest release versions. So, yeah. So, enter to the version that you have so you can follow the class. But then when we need to download something for the next class, you will need to have the other version. But I hope that for that moment it downloaded already. Okay, so launch the version in here, launch. It is loading. Okay, if you launch Unreal, this is what is going to appear. The Unreal editor is opening. And this is the first browser that is going to appear in Unreal. Just let me see if it is. Yes, recording already. Okay, so this is what is going to appear. We have in here in the project browser some templates. These templates actually are made by Unreal Engine by the Epic people. So we have templates for games, we have templates for film and video, for architecture, and for product design and manufacturing. In this case, we can use for architecture, if you want architectural visualization specifically, you can use this template that already have some like plugins such as Datesmith that you can use them with Rhino if you're using Rhino, or if you're using other software as 3ds Max, as Maya, you can download a plugin that is Datesmith to just have your geometry updates with the ARC's visualization template. In this case, we're going to use the third-person template that has an avatar, and the avatar can run inside the game, let's call it like that. And Unreal actually has a lot of templates. We have this first-person template that is a shooting template. If you open this template, it will have like a shooting gun, and you can actually shoot all the things in the screen. It's actually very fun if you have the time. And this is the template, like the basic template. The third person one has the avatar, and we're going to use this one. This one is from the top down, so it's like a top view with the avatar also. This one has a vehicle. Then we have the AR template that is already preset for having AR, for developing AR applications. Unreal actually is very good because you can translate it to VR if you're using headsets. If you're using your phone, you can translate it to AR. So we can have different outcomes from the same software. But if you want to do something for AR, you need to start with an AR template. You cannot change from the third person with the avatar running to a VR experience because it doesn't work like that. If it is a VR experience, it needs to have the virtual reality template as a starting point. So if you are going to develop a project and you want a VR experience, start with a VR template. Then we have all the film and video that are here for the reproduction, the camera, the VFX camera. We have here also the in-display and the architecture template. That the most common one is the visualization one that has the water and has some very basic materials already set up. And we have also a architecture AR that is in here, as you can see. And we have a collab viewer that can actually help you if you are using multiple people trying to enter to the project. This is like for a viewer, it's not exactly for developing all the project. And also a configurator that probably you will see with Cesar like later on. And then, well, in the games template, please check the third person. In here we have Blueprint and C++. Unreal works in two ways. It uses blueprints that are native from Unreal that are similar to Grasshopper. They have like nodes and they have boxes and they have strings. So this is how blueprints work inside Unreal. But if you know C++ and you want to actually create another thing very specific with scripting, you can also do that in Unreal. But at the beginning, when you are creating your project, you need to tell to the Unreal if you're using blueprints or if you're using C++. In our case, now we're going to use blueprints. The target platform that I'm going to use is the desktop because I'm creating something here in my laptop, not for a mobile phone. But if you want to create something for a mobile, as an app, as a game, you can also put it here that is for a mobile. And it's very specific if it is for Android or if it is for Apple. Because Android, it has developer options that are more open than Apple. Apple is more difficult to download and something that you just create in Unreal and to make it actually load in your iPhone. So it's more easy with Android actually. And while the quality preset is set it to the maximum, check that you need to have the starting content. The ray tracing, don't check it for now because it will consume more of your PC, well, of your GPU RAM. So then put it a name, I will call it new. New one. And then create a project. If in some of the things that I'm going to teach you, you feel that I'm going too fast, please tell me, because Unreal is a very complex software, but it's actually very nice to use, and if you learn how to use it correctly, I use it like every day, so I'm very happy using Unreal. But sometimes it feels overwhelmed when you are starting to use it. I asked before if someone used Unity, because Unity and Unreal are similar because they are both gaming engines. I actually learned to use Unity before Unreal, and when I translate myself to Unreal, it was easier because the mindset of how a gaming engine works was similar. Not the same, but similar. So if you open your template, it's going to look like this. Probably you don't have this. Look at this. Okay, so this is the template, the general template for Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine has this template that is the canvas, that is the one that you see here in the screen, that is called the third person template. It's our main canvas. Then in the right side, we have the outliner. The outliner in Unreal Engine is all the geometry and everything actually, not only geometry, lighting, all the effects that we have inside the canvas. So everything that you are going to use, if I click on a geometry, it is going to be here in my outliner. In Rhino, we have layers and we have geometry inside these layers. If you use Maya someday, or if you already know Maya, Maya has an outliner too. But in Unreal, we have the outliner too. It's not layers, it's outliner. And in the outliner, you can create folders. In here, this is the preset for the template. And you can turn on and off, as in Rhino when you have layers. All of these. And then you probably don't have the details, but you have details in the, because mine is already preset. You have details. Details? The details. Yeah, so if you have the details and you click in any object, imagine that I'm clicking in this cube. If you click in this cube, you have the details, and then in the details we can see the location, the rotation, and the scale of the object. So we can actually change in here if I want to move it. I am changing in here in the XYZ. And location, rotation, and scale are relative to the object. If I put it in world, then I will start moving, then I will start moving related to the world, not to the object itself. So we have these two types if you want to change it. I have it always in relative, depends. If you have a world set already in XYZ, like a 0, point, a gizmo point in Rhino, and then you put your things in here and everything is related to that 0, then you can move it if you want to move it related to world. If you don't have it organized like that, your project, your geometry, then it's better to move relative, so you can actually move it in here, or you can move it with the arrows. Then what we also have here in the details tab is the mesh itself. We have here that the static mesh is a cube. We have here the material, that in this case is the protogrid material that is with the starter content. We have that we can actually use physics inside Unreal. You will see in a moment. We can apply physics, so because Unreal is a gaming engine, so it's actually used for video games. When you are running, when you are shooting something, it actually needs to react. If we have gravity, or if you want to fly, you can actually do everything that you can imagine inside Unreal. The avatar can fly, the avatar can swim, the avatar can dance. That is something that other softwares cannot do, because the visualization software for architecture, the majority of the times the person that you have as avatar only walks and runs. That's the only two things that the majority can do. And only we can have like a library. If you use Enscape, we have a library of people that we have people that is swimming, but it's like a preset already. Or you have people that is, I don't know, lying in the beach or something. But in here, you can actually have that people that is the swimming one as action for your avatar. So your avatar can start swimming. In this case, our avatar will start running because it is the preset. But we can change it. You can start dancing if you want an avatar to start dancing by any reason. And it can start flying also. That's why I was asking if you play Fortnite, because Fortnite as a video game, when you enter to the level, it starts flying. The avatar has a parachute, and it just flies until it hits the ground. And in the ground it has everything, I think, all the levels of the things that is going to build. So that's why we have physics here. Then we have collision. Collision is important because when you're making a project and you're making a geometry, you don't want the geometry to be like transparent, that the avatar can actually go across the geometry. So collision will create a box or a geometry most similar to your geometry, the most simple one, even if we have a cube. It is going to be easy in the collision to actually put the avatar that this is a table and the avatar cannot go through the table. If we don't put the collision, this is a table, and the avatar will be in the center of the table. And it will be very weird, but if you want to do that, you can also do that. If you want to have like a geometry semi-transparent and because of any reason, and you want the avatar to actually cross the geometry, you can do that because the collision you will add it in here, in the software. That's why we have collision here. We also have lighting, and Real is very, very good with lighting. It has different types of lighting. I will explain it to you later on today. We have different types of lighting, and it's very interesting to set lighting because it depends how you want to set up the lighting. We have different types. We have like a point light. We have like the normal lightings that you can see in any software. We will see later that we can also have lighting. Then we have the light mask settings, that is for the shadows. In this case, I am telling Unreal that I need shadows. Then we have the rendering, just don't change it. Then the LODs, that this will be, it's more advanced, but it will depend when you have a very big geometry and when you are creating a project that is going to be uploaded into a web browser and you are going to go inside the web browser with the avatar. Then the LODs can help you because when you upload something, it's not only the geometry that has the weight. I mean, it's the geometry size. The majority of people think that if you have a bigger geometry, then it's going to be difficult to upload. But the thing is not about the geometry. The thing is about that inside of Real with geometry, we have lighting, we have textures. And if we have an 8K texture with a very simple geometry, it's going to be not as fast to enter in a web browser if we have a 1K texture. So for that, we're using LODs because this is for the texturing. Then we have the navigation, just don't change it. The port is the virtual texture, don't change it also. Some tags, the cooking, all of this is more advanced, the word partition, the actor itself, and I think that those are all inside the details. But now, since it's your first time in Unreal, probably you never used it before, so you don't know how to navigate inside Unreal. So with Unreal, we're going to use the right click to actually orbit in Unreal inside. With the right click, you can orbit. With the left mouse button, you can pan and you can zoom also. It's a zoom pan type of thing. Then you can use for zoom also the middle button of your mouse. So you can use this for zoom. And that's mainly it. Or if you hit one of the geometries and you hit F, it will do what in Rhino is called zoom scale. It's going to zoom scale to that specific object, and it's easier to actually navigate after that because you're going to move it like I pick this, I hit F, and then I'm close to the object that I want to change. And yeah, it's actually very easy to navigate. You can change the navigation settings and change them as Maya settings or as other type of settings, but I actually don't recommend it because it's actually very easy when you get used to it, how to move inside the canvas. And it's not difficult when you just hit F, you just can go to any other object, even if the Unreal is very complicated. I mean, here we only have like cylinders and cubes. But if in one point your project is very complicated and you have a little piece and you just hit that piece of geometry and hit F, you're going to go to that piece of geometry. So yeah, this is the navigation part. And in here, you will need another bar in here that you probably don't have. So we will have to go to Windows. In Windows, we need this bar that is called Place Actors. It's Windows Place Actors. So in Place Actors Windows is actually the main window for having basic geometries. This is for creating the primitives. If you want to create a cube, if you want to create a sphere, you can have it in here. Because in here we have our recently place, we have basic things, all the divisions. We have the lighting, we have the geometry, that is the shapes. We have cinematic, that then we will see later, probably not today. The visual effects, we can have the other type of geometry, volumes, and the all classes. For now, as first exercise inside the software, just click a cube and drag it to your canvas. And with that, you already have a cube inside Unreal. And you place it, and this is, the first cube that you place. We can also place lights, and before I continue, do you all place your cube?
Yes.
Yeah? Yeah? Okay. Yeah, don't worry. It's recording. Okay, recording. Yeah. Okay. So now that you all have your cube, this is the first thing that you just drag inside Unreal. You have it? You have.
Right now I'm using 5.3. I'll do again in 5.03 because we did.
Oh, but enter and do it.
Huh?
Enter and do it.
I did it on 5.3.
So yeah, you have it.
I have 5.3. I'm still downloading 5.0.
Oh no, yeah, it's okay, but do it.
Yeah, I'm
this is
done.
like the general.
Yeah, I've done.
exercise. Okay.
I was using 5.3 way back. There's a different method also, right? There is a different method to place a cube or something also, right?
Oh yeah, there are different methods. This is the most basic one. Yeah, okay. So now everyone has their cube. Okay, with your cube inside, now we can actually move it. As you can see, there appears a gizmo in your cube, and you can move your cube in here, or we can move it in the details tab. You can say, I don't know, I want 500, and move it 500 from where it was. So here is my cube. you can scale it. And actually for scaling and for rotating, we can use the buttons in here. That is, this one is for moving objects, this one for rotating, and this one is for scaling. But the shortcuts is W for moving, E for rotating, and R for scaling. So it's WER. So in case you are using it, it's faster if you do it with WER. If not, if you don't know the shortcut yet because it's the first time, you can use the buttons in here. With the buttons, you can actually scale or rotate and everything.
How do I, let's say, both things, how do I control the degrees
Oh yeah, if you want to rotate, here we have the degrees. I don't know if you can see. The snap for degrees is in here. So if you open it, you have this snap for degrees in there. Yeah, that's one way. And as you can see, they go by 5 by 5. Like there are multiple of 5 in the common ones, and there are divisions of 360 in this part. But if you want to rotate, and it's not in here what you want, and if you want, I don't know, 3 degrees instead of 5, you can change in your rotation in the details. I want 3 degrees, and now it's 3 degrees, it's not 5. But it's moving still, but it's not with the snap. If you want to snap, I can put my snap, I don't know, I need my cube to move 30 degrees each. So it's 30, each time it's going to move 30. So now it's 63 because I just rotate 3 at the beginning. But it's... No, you cannot. You cannot type it in the canvas. You can type it here in the details. Yeah, so, and also for the translation, following to your question, we have here the snap for the translation. We have a grid size, so we're going to move depending in 10, 50, 10,000. So right now I have it in 10, and I move it. It is moving 10 by 10, as you can see here in my location tab. But if I move it to 50, when I move, it's actually moving 50 by 50. And it is moving so 50. Another thing to consider in here is the scale snap that is also here. We can have 10, 1, right now it's 0.25. But you can also change it manually here if I want, I don't know, 8. And in here I start scaling this loop here to create some bits. So, other thing that we have, I can see here, yeah. If you work with Rhino, you are used to having 4 screens divided. So if you want to have this in Unreal, you just click in the viewport. You can maximize and minimize the viewport. And then we have the top view, the elevation view, this is the top one. I have it right now in wireframe, as in Rhino, but you can change if you want to see it in shaded mode, let's call it. It's like the lit mode is shaded mode in here. So you just change in here, lit, you can change to wireframe, and Unreal has very specific options, such as lighting. We can see the detail lighting, we can see right now I don't have any detail lighting, or lighting only. You can see the reflections, we don't have any of that right now, and it's pretty simple, our base geometry. But you can have all of these, also the collisions, these are the collisions for the player. And in the collisions, if you activate the collision mode, I am in the top view right now, you can see that there are different colors. Some of these are green. And in a moment you will see why they are a different type of green, because everything else is with a similar color that is type of cyan color, but more dark. Yeah, so let's stay with the lit mode. And depending on how many screens are you using, because when I use Unreal when I need to actually see my top view or other views, I actually use full screens. So on one screen I have one of these, the top view, and in the other screen I actually have the shaded mode in my perspective mode. Because if not, at least in my laptop it's too small to use my 4. And then we can set here. Yeah, in here we have the perspective. We can have also the top view in case you want to go to top view. You can change it in this part. And here are also the shortcuts. Alt J for the top view, Alt Shift plus J for the bottom view, Alt K for the left side, Alt Shift K for the right side, Alt H for the front, and Alt Shift H for the back. The majority of the times I use Unreal in perspective mode, at least in the main canvas. So we have this in the main canvas. Now, Unreal itself is not a software for modeling. In Unreal, what you're going to do, unless you want to use these very simple geometries, is to create your geometry elsewhere, such as Rhino, Maya, or whatever other software, if you want to use Blender, whatever other software, and you are going to bring your geometry inside Unreal. We can actually use Unreal because it has a sculpting mode. You can actually model in here, but I'm going to showcase to you that it's not the best idea to model in here. So if I have my cube, that is the most basic geometry, and then I go here to select mode, you will see that in select mode we have select, we have landscape, foliage, mesh paint, modeling, fracture, brush editing, and animation. I'm going to modeling in here, and you will see that the modeling options in Unreal are not as good as in other softwares. It's very constrained, it's not a lot of things. We can do some things if you want to actually start moving something. So let me see. We can deform the geometry, like a sculpting. And I'm sculpting my geometry with a brush. So it's not as interesting and the result is not as controlled as in other 3D softwares. Because Unreal is not for sculpting, but if you want or if you really need to try or want to try to sculpt inside Unreal, this is what we can use. This is the tab. And I change here in the modeling mode. I change here modeling. And then I accept. And then we cannot modify the building. And that's why it doesn't work well, the modeling option. But yeah, but these are the modeling options in Unreal. Interesting things about Unreal is that you can actually create a landscape. So right now I'm entering to landscape mode. You can have, if you have a project and it's with hills, it has mountains around, you can create these mountains. So let me create. If you hit landscape mode in here, then you can have this bar. Don't change anything in the bar and just hit create. And it's going to take a while, but it's going to actually create, it's going to create a grid. And then this grid you can actually sculpt for having like a landscape. It's a very basic one. But the good thing is you do a landscape inside Unreal is that it has the UV mapping already there. So you don't need to UV map again. And it's not as heavy because it's a geometry that is optimized for rendering. But it's not that if you're going to have a close-up view, it's not a good idea. But if you're going to have some view that is very, very far away, I mean, you need some mountains, you can use it. And now I have it already here. As you can see here, I have my brush. And I can start doing some hills. I will do the hits. Okay. And then actually you can play with this. It's very interesting to play with. Then you can smooth it. You can just start working with this and creating something that is, I mean, it's very easy to make. And if you actually change the brush size and take, like, I mean, it needs some time to actually create a different flow. On nice ones, then you can just have it. So I have it now. And then, you can also paint in here. And then I would just do again my select mode. If I change in here in my bar to select mode again, my landscape will stay there. As you can see, I have my landscape. And each of these is actually a grid. So if you see, one of these is a grid, and if you see the outliner now, we have a new layer that is called landscape that I can turn on and off. And each of these is the landscape. I mean, the landscape is created with the geometries as grids, so it's optimized. And that's the good thing about doing landscape inside Unreal because it's already optimized. There are other softwares that actually do landscape outside Unreal, but then when you bring it to Unreal, it becomes very high poly and sometimes it crashes the computer very easily because it has too many polys. So now I have this. Now for me at least the most interesting part, at least from this template, is if you're going to hit play, that is Alt-T. If you hit play, you will see an avatar, and you can, if you play video games, you can use the same commands as video games for running, or if not, you can use your arrow keys to run. And before I was telling that we have two different type of geometries because these cubes were in a different color. And now if you go close to the cube, you can see the gravity working because this cube is a drawable object. So it reacts depending on my avatar. My avatar right now is just throwing it around. I don't mean that you need to put your architecture and throw it around. But if you have something very specific that you want to draw around, at least when I'm doing VR games, it's very interesting that you have the headsets on and you have something to grab and then draw. And Unreal has the gravity settings already with you. And this is the most basic template, so imagine what you can do with this type of settings that you can actually change. So yeah, this is the play mode. Now you hit escape in your keyboard and you are again in the canvas. So now we have the outliner, we have the canvas, and we have the actors in the left. What I'm going to showcase to you now is the content drawer. That is the one that is in the bottom. The content drawer has, probably you don't have the developer mode, so in the content drawer here in the bottom, you need to go to the settings and you need to put show developer mode. Here, show developer content. This one, you need to check it. Because it's the first time you're using Unreal, you will not have it with the check. So when you put in the check, then it's going to appear another folder here that is called developers. These folders, the content folder, is everything that is in the project that you can use in here. We have a folder called starter content that has everything that we have in the project, and we can add more things, such materials. We have some materials that are part of this starter content, and you can enter to the materials. I'll enter right now. You can see that as there are some materials there, and we can use them. If you just grab the material to imagine this one, you just have the material there. And there is a reason why Unreal Engine is called Unreal Engine, because everything that you do as visualization is very realistic. It's the most photorealistic software that we have in the market now. So similar thing happens with the textures. Here are the most simple textures because they are part of the starter content. And as you can see, because of the mapping of the starter content, it looks right now very, very like round and very big. And you can just test some of these in the different. So you can start just placing materials. And in here, when you're placing materials in Unreal, then when you hit play again, we can see the materials and we can see that each material have different, how they are reacting to the lights. I don't know if you can see how these change when I move, and now we have the lighting here. And it doesn't have a lot of lighting inside, just the general style lighting. So I didn't change any settings in the template. But it's already reacting because Unreal is set like that. I mean, it already has a lot of power in your hands now for creating something when you are doing cinematic renderings and using lighting. So this is because this is a metal material. So okay, in our content drawer, we have the starter content, that is the one that I just showcased to you. We have the third person character, that is actually a blueprint. The blueprint is our character. So this is our avatar. I will hit double click. If you open this, I'm not showcasing how to do blueprints today, but I will showcase how to do blueprints. Oh, in the starter content, in the content drawer, we have a starter content, and we have another one that is called third person. And in third person, enter groupings, and then we have DP third person character. Double click, and this is going to appear. This is how a blueprint looks like. And that's what I was telling that, well, if you know Grasshopper or if you're learning Grasshopper, it's similar because it's also boxes with strings. It's not the same logic though, because Grasshopper doesn't have the same commands as we have in Unreal. But it actually helps a lot to have this visualization, because it's easy to understand that if we have this as input, this is going to be the output. So it's like a cause-effect relationship between the boxes. In here, this is how and why our avatar is running as it is running, why it's not flying, why it's not screaming, and why it's a robot. Because everything is inside this blueprint. And one thing that you can do with Unreal is that now we have metahumans that probably you'll never see, but I will, let me see if I have it here in the... Okay, the metahumans. The MetaHumans plugin is one plugin that Unreal just released, I think in the 5.0 version. No, in the 4.26. And with MetaHumans, you can actually create a realistic avatar, and then you can replace our robot with this avatar. So then you have actually a person running around the space, and not a robot. And you can create and personalize the person. If you have you can also 3D scan yourself if you have a 3D scanner, and have like a metahuman. So Unreal has all of this power, and then you change everything with the blueprints and with the third person character. So this was just to showcase how the blueprints are. We're not looking to blueprints right now, but this is what we have in the starter content. Okay. And also we have the DP game mode, that this is what is controlling the avatar. So in here is actually all of this of how the avatar is going to start running. I mean, this is like what are the events that are actually making the character run if I need to hit play or something. And this is the default person, that is the default third person character. Why I'm showcasing this is because sometimes you will do a project and make projects at Zaha. Some of the projects are controlled by a computer, some of the projects when we're doing exhibitions are controlled by an Xbox controller, so we need to change things in here because it's not going to be controlled by my keyboard, it's going to be controlled by an Xbox controller. So you start changing all of the things in here for actually having another input, not the keyboard. Right now it has the keyboard, so you don't need to change anything. But also it can be controlled by an Xbox controller, by a PlayStation controller, by your phone. So we have a lot of opportunities in here to actually investigate if you like. Because this is how we make video games, and we can play video games in different platforms. So depending on that. Now, in the content drawer, now we have a developers folder. The developers folder is going to be your name probably in the computer, or the name that you have the computer. In my case, is Jenny. Inside it, you have collections, and inside it, you can create folders. For me, it's actually better if you're organized when you're creating your geometries and translating them inside Unreal. So put everything that you have in your developers folder. So you have collections and you want to create a material. So you need to be here in this, it's not a canvas, but in this space, and right click. And then let's go to create a new folder, in here, new folder, and let's call it materials. To create materials. So now we have a folder of the materials, and in this material folder you just double click and you can create a material. We can create right now a material from scratch. So you just right click, and now we can create all of this. You can create a blueprint class, you can create a level, you can create a material, a Niagara system, and all of these are different because blueprints, as you can see, blueprints is the one that helps my avatar moves. But with blueprints, we can actually make a door open. We can have if the avatar is close to a point or enter to an invisible box that actually is going to be visible in Unreal, but invisible for the person when you run, then music starts on, or then something like an explosion happens. So for that, all of that is made with Blueprints. Blueprints is all the animations that we will have inside Unreal. Then the levels, when you play a video game, probably you play Mario Bros at some point, maybe, or you know about the game. And when you play Mario Bros, even the most simple version, you have like a main map, and then you enter in different parts. So each map has a level. So what happened with big video games, Mario Bros is a probably very small example, but if you play other video games like The Last of Us, you have like different levels also, and the video games has a lot of quality because it has a lot of photorealistic quality. For having all of that compartmented in a whole video game, because it's not as big as probably your project is going to be, because they are optimized. But for having all of that, they have levels. So if you have a city, imagine that you put a city in Unreal, and you want also to have the interior design of one of the department buildings. So then you have levels. One level is the city, and another level is inside the city one department, or one apartment, with all the detail. Because if you have everything in only one Unreal, then Unreal will crash very badly. But if you compartmentalize in different things, then it's going to be easy for you, for your computer, and for you also to drag things, and then when you export everything, it's going to be faster. So for that's the reason we use levels. Right now I didn't showcase them because this is the template mode. The what? Oh, in here, in the settings, show developer content. Yeah, what else I was saying? Okay, then right here in here. The material, that is the one that we're actually using now. Then we can create also animations. There are animations that are preset here in Unreal. You have the pose asset. We have all the rigs. If you at some point use 3ds Max to create or 3ds Max or Maya to create an avatar, and the avatar has the skeleton, and the skeleton has the nodes. If I want to move my arm, it's going to be a node in here, and it's going to have a line, and another line. We can actually tell Unreal that we have a skeleton, and Unreal can actually, with that, have movement. That's actually how we have the movement, because our avatar right now has a skeleton. We have artificial intelligence that are the new ones that Unreal has. We have lendables that are materials. We have blueprints. There are different types of blueprints also. The editor blueprints, foliage, effects, or what is Niagara. Niagara is using particles. So if you ever see an explosion mode in a video game, like explosion or fire or water as a waterfall, it's always a Niagara emitter working inside because Niagara has the optimization mode for particles. Then we have the gameplay, materials, the media. Media is when you want to actually put a video inside Unreal, when you want the people to enter a space, and in the space there is a screen, and the screen starts running a video. You can run the video with sound, without sound, and the video can run if the avatar is close, or if the avatar just hit one button, whatever you want, for that is media. Then we have the miscellaneous one, that is a mixture, the paper 2D, physics, we have sounds, the textures one, and the user interface. For now, we're going to use material. So now you just create your material. When I create materials, something that is very, that I use a lot at least, it depends on you because it's like a personal election, but for me, at least when I do materials, I always start them with M as a nomenclature, because then when I am searching for my materials, if I search M and my line, oops, okay. Rename. Okay. I just call it M with my bar, my underbar, and then material. Let's call it material base. So why do I call it like that? Because then when I search materials, if I am outside my content folder, then I search M and my bar, and everything that is called like that appeared. You can see that the basic materials are also called like that, and then you can find your materials. But if not, if you call it, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, or XYZ or whatever, then it's more difficult sometimes to track it. And when you have a lot of materials, it's faster when you're organized, even from these first steps. Okay, so we have the material base. Now we're going to double click the material. And this is the material editor. The material editor is what you see in Split. The material editor actually have some, like 4 things that you need to probably memorize. That is the most easy things that we can use. The base color, that is for the color, that we can actually drag. Wait, let me click. Oh. If you hit 3 in your keyboard and your left side button is going to appear, this is the color. So it's 3 and left click and it will appear. Okay. Are you all in here? Do you have your material color? Yeah, 3 and left click button. Like 3 and this part of the button. 3 and this. Works? Yeah, there is a minor bit of weirdness. Let me call this, I think. I never did the manual way, but let me use one second. Okay, yeah, it's the constant 3 vector. If you cannot do it like that because you don't have a mouse, it's the constant. You need to right click. If you right click in here, it's going to appear all the commands that we can use in here. And it's called constant 3 vector. That is the other way of doing it. Yeah, just in case you don't have the mouse. But I actually forgot how was the name because I'm always using 3 and click. But that's the other way, constant 3 vector. And yeah, so then enter to your vector, change the color, hit OK, and then you just need to drag and connect to base color. And you will see that Unreal is thinking, and now it actually has a base color. We can have this base color. Now we will use metallic, specular, and roughness. Metallic is whether or not our material will be metallic. Roughness, specular is whether or not it will have all the reflection or not all the reflection. And roughness is depend on the bump and the normal map. So we will use this for a very basic material. Now for having the metallic, specular, and roughness, actually only use like a value from 0 to 1. So what we need now inside this tab is a value from 0 to 1. So now we're going to hit in our keyboard 1 and left click. And then this is going to appear. You will see how it was for
Constant.
Oh yeah, the constant. So you can see it like this. 1 is constant.
The shortcuts are nice.
What?
Like 1 and click.
1 and click and 3 and click. Yeah, I forgot the name, so help, because I never used the name for a long time. Okay, it was like 1 and click. And then everything is in 0 now. Let's leave it in 0 and just connect to metallic, connect to specular, let's connect to roughness, and that's everything that I have done. And let's change, if you have whatever color, let's change the color to probably a white or a Great, something that is more neutral. Not look white. I will showcase to you in a second graph. Now, just hit save. If you hit save, you can hit apply first and then save. I am hitting save directly. So now I close my material, and as you see, I create a material base. It's a material. But what happened? Unreal has the materials optimized because we're using a gaming engine. So when we actually want to change the color of the material in any other software, we can copy this material, duplicate, and then we change color. But what we're going to do here is actually create an instance of the material. So we right-click the material, and you can see here in the top part it says create material instance. And we put in here the material instance. And now we have a material base, so we call it instance. Yeah, it's called material base instance. Then I hit OK, and now you see that it changed. We have material and we have material instance. What is the difference between those two? The material instance, actually, we are going to use our base material to change different material instance. So now, how are we going to do that? If we go to material instance and double click, you're going to see that we don't have all the bars and all the wires that we had before. We just have this screen that has an sphere and has here a physical material, the parent, and all of these details. What is happening here? What is happening is that this material has a parent, and the parent is the first material that we create. So in the parent, we're going to actually change some settings so the parameters will appear in here. Because right now we don't have any parameters. This material cannot do anything because we cannot change anything. Because we didn't set to the parent that it needs to be changed. So now we come back and close it. We come back to our material base, double click, and enter again to here, that we only have these bars. And each of these, we're going to right click, and we're going to convert to parameter. Right click, convert to parameter. So in here, the same for here, and the same for here, and the same here. We can change the names of the parameters, so let's call the first one color, the second one metallic, the third one specular, and the fourth one is going to be roughness. So okay, now we have all of these, and as you see, now we have parameters because all of these change, and it is called param. That is the parameter. Now if you hit apply and then you hit save, I'm saving my material. I just close my material. I will open it, this one, the other one, the one that is the instance. And now if you see here, we just create parameters. So we are going to change these parameters. If I click here in color, if I check it, I can change here my color without entering again to my wires. So I can put in this type of light blue. The metallic I can change also. If I put it in 1, as you can see, it's going to be very bright because it's metallic. The roughness I can see it also. I can put it in 1. If I put it in 1, it's going to be like not type of. Without roughness is better. On the specular we can change it to 0.5. It's going to change the reflections, as you can see in here. I can put it in 1 or I can put it in 0. I can start moving. I can move the metallic, that not to be totally metallic. I can start moving in here. And make it safe. Let's close. And then we can apply our material. So I just apply our material, and it's reflecting the sky. But I just apply our new material. And now if you duplicate this one, that is actually the instance, better don't duplicate the instance, better go again to the material and create another instance. Now if you have the other instance, The other instance is again white, but if you double click, you have the same parameters that you create to change. So it's actually a smart type of material because you don't need to copy every time, but you can change individually. And we have a parent, so if you want some of these not to appear, you can change the parent. If we don't have it to be metallic, we just don't connect the values. If we don't have brightness, we just don't connect brightness. So it will not appear here in the parameters. We can do this with everything in Unreal. We can create instances and then you can change the instances. So if I will put the darkness, I will put a perspective mode. It's just look.
Yeah.
And now I have
Okay.
this in this very pink color.
3 vector.
And I can apply also
Or
my base
you
material
can
if I
also do 1 square.
So yeah, as you can see, this is how we create materials in Unreal. What did you do with the
3.
materials in
And this
Unreal has,
both
well,
together.
it has a lot that you can do. We can animate materials. Right now we are just having a plain one. It doesn't have any texture. It's just a very easy and plain material. We're going to use right now one with a texture so you can see the difference. And also we can create animated materials, as if you play a video game and you see that you have a water and the water is like moving or something. It's because there are two textures or two normal maps moving, one on top of the other. And we can also do that here in Unreal. That's like advanced material. This is the most simple material that we can do. Until now, before I go to the other type of materials, the texture ones, do you have the materials? Yeah. Yeah. Do you have any questions?
I have
Yeah, you can just explore materials.
where would they do the same thing as
If you want to export a material from Quixel, yeah, I will showcase Quixel because we have a plugin that is already here, Quixel. So you can just, let me showcase at the end, but yeah, you can have Quixel things inside Unreal. There is already a very big library of material. Yeah, also you can have, if you use Twinmotion, you can bring material from Twinmotion to Unreal. So it's a lot of bridging between, well, Unreal and Twinmotion, Quixel Bridge does a lot of things. Also for vegetation, also for surfaces, objects, everything in Quixel. Yeah. Do you have any other question? No. Okay, so let me continue. We are going to create the new material that is the one with the texture, because right now this material is plain, and as you can see it's a nice one, but doesn't have any texture. So now we create another material base. So let's go to right click, material, and then call it M, material base, texture, material base T. So my material base T is my material base texture. Okay, so double click. And again, we have our material editor. This material editor is actually very similar to other 3D softwares. And then we will have, we need to hit P in the keyboard plus the left click in the mouse. P and the left click. Or if you don't have it, you can search texture sample in the canvas, texture sample. And it's the same name, texture sample, texture sample. And now in here, we can actually change. As you can see here, we have a details bar. And in the details bar, we have texture. So Unreal, because we have the starter content, it already has some textures. So we can use whatever texture you want to use. But maybe we can use the oak one, that is the wood. So search for oak, O-A-K, okay, wood. And now it's going to appear in here. Now we have it. And now we connect RGB to base color. And everything else, such as metallic, specular, and roughness, we're going to actually use the same one. one and left click, and you're going to have it there. The parameter is in here, so I'm going to put it. And I'm going to connect. And now for textures, we will add another one that is called the normal. Normal is actually what in other softwares is the bump map. That is, but Unreal call it normal map. So we need another one of these. We just control copy, control V, the texture sample, or we just hit P and left click to have a new one. Depends on what you want to do. And again, searching here the oak. And if you see, there is here the normal map for the oak, that is this type of purple texture. So we now connect it to normal.
Oh.
And now we have our material. Here we have our material. And as you can see, this is my material. But what happened in this material or in any other material if my material is too big or too small? What we can do here is to have a texture coordinate. So we will just right click and click texture coordinate. Here. And the texture coordinate have the U and V tiling. So we can change, if I want my material to be smaller, I can put 5 by 5. So then you can see it when I connect it, because right now it's not connected. I will connect it to UV, and to UV in here. It's right here. And then, as you can see here, is a smaller my material. If I want it to be bigger, I put 0.5, 5.5. And then you can see here that my material is changing. Now it's bigger. Depends on how your mapping of your geometry is, we can change it. If I will apply one by one, probably it's going to be very big, depending. I will put 5 by 5 at least. And I will save. In this case, I didn't create, this is a material, I didn't create any other instance, but let me put it here so you can see it. Yeah, as you can see, the texture is not as big. It's probably very orange, but that's the color of the material. And I already have it in my experience. So until now, this is how you create a texture. We can actually do the same as we do with the materials for creating textures and having parameters. So let's go inside here. And let's just leave this empty. Let's clear it. Let's clear it also. It has some error because it's uncertainty. But I will convert to parameter, and I'll convert this to parameter first. And let's convert everything to parameter. And let's call it color. This one is going to be normal. This one is metallic. This one is split. And this one is reference. Okay, so, because I don't have any material, let me put the material again. I will put the material again just to have the dates. There, I will save it. And now I will create material instance. Okay, now it's created. So if I have now my material base, I just with my colors. It can be white if you want the textures. But now if you have the material instance and you click, you have now that you can change the colors, you can change the normal, and you just enter and change. I don't know, this one, and this is the other one, and this is the normal, this is the color. We can create it that is metallic. So now we have this very strange material that is metallic but has a pump. That is a new material that I just create for installed from the main one. And now I have this material and we'll apply it to here. And it has already my texture. And this one I will just change the color to white and white so it doesn't talk about I want to do it. I can see that one thing. Yeah, the monochrome. Okay, I'm just changing the color so it doesn't look as okay, so now when I see my materials, I have now my material base and material base first. That is not loading my studio, let's do something. Okay, let's begin with the other one because not my computer will crash. So let's begin with that. I changed it, but I'm changing it back again. I think the computer will crash. That will not be it. Yeah, now it's okay. Okay. Now we have the two ways of doing a material, a simple one and a more complex one with a texture. So this is the most quicker and faster way to do a material. And now I will showcase to you how to bring materials from Quixel Bridge. You will need to have Quixel Bridge. So for that, go to the Epic, go to the Marketplace. The Marketplace again is not loading. And then you need to set the Quixel. It needs to be here, but it doesn't appear to me. Go to your library and suddenly you have this one that is called Quixel Grid. You have it? You have it before. The Quixel Grid. Just go to your library. If you enter to your Epic browser again, you have news, you have samples, you have marketplace, and you have library. In library we have the engine versions and the projects, but then you can also have, this is everything that I have downloaded, probably you don't have everything of this, but you will have Quixel Bridge. Now install Quixel Bridge, because we will need to use Quixel Bridge. You need to install, in my case I already have it done, because I already have it installed. But you need Quixel Bridge. And when you have it downloaded, probably later today when you finish downloading, you can go here, and in here we have quickly add to the project, and we can have to import content, that is when we are going to import geometries, but we also have Quixel Bridge. In Quixel Bridge, you just click, Quixel is going to start loading, and Quixel Bridge is the fantastic library that you can use inside Unreal. It has a lot of materials, as you can see, very nice materials. It has whatever you want to search in here, I don't know, marble. Let me search. And we can also have geometries, because these are geometries. You can have 3D assets, we can have surfaces that are actually the materials. And in here, there's marble. So we can have polish, rock, tile, and rock. So, as you can see, I have these marble settings, and there are more, but my internet is a little slow. Here you have imagine that I want to use this raw marble, but it's actually low. If you want to use this, it already does. If you want to use this, and it renders like that, it's a nice one because it has a lot of texture. So if we want to use this, we just need to download it. And then it's going to start downloading. Probably because it's the first time you're using Quixel, when you have it, when you enter, you will need to create an account if you don't have one. I already have one, I'm signing into your account. Or connect to your Epic account and you will have the Quixel. I have it with my Epic account, they are both linked. So right now it's downloading. Let's wait for it to download. It will not take a while to download. Depends on what you want to download, because I just download medium quality, but in here you see that I can have the highest quality. This is if I am saying textures, if this is 2K texture, 4K texture, I think this one is 6K and this one is HK. So we can have the highest quality. If you really want to do a space and have the nicest render, depends also on the computer, because your computer can crash if you have bigger textures on a very simple geometry. So it's a balance depending on, I'm always downloading medium quality for now until I test that that's the material that I want to use. So yeah, it's still downloading. And I think it's almost there. So yeah, for everything that you want to do, there is a Quixel Bridge material already set up for that. And if there is not, you already know how to create a material with a texture, so you can create any material now. There are a lot of websites where you can download textures with the Albedo and with the normal app, and then you can just plug and play inside the editor to have the textures. Now, as you can see, it already downloaded. It didn't take a while. I need just to press add. And now it already opens my content browser and it is already there, my material. So now I'm going to my content browser that is the same. I'm going to just close it. And in here, in my content browser that is in the bottom, I will go to the Mega Scans. It's called Mega Scans, the folder. Then you go to surfaces, because it's called surfaces, and then I have here that I download raw marble, and I will apply raw marble to this wall. I think it's very big very big for my wall. But I'm applying it something more small. And here you can see the material. But I actually quite like how it looks in the cylinder. Other thing is that I always have my content drawer. I have it locked. At least in my computer, I have it locked because I don't have it screen. But in here, I don't have it locked because I don't want it to interrupt my canvas space. I don't have a lot of space in the laptop, so in the laptop screen. So now I already have a material, and if you did the same steps or you're going to do the same steps, now you can see that I have already a nice material, apart from the ones that we created. And the library is very big, so we can use other materials. We can search for everything that we want. This is the second way of having materials. And the third way of having a material is you close this and we go to the marketplace.
I have a question. When we import material from Quixel Bridge, it comes as an instance.
Yeah, it comes as an
right?
instance.
So
yeah.
how do I change the scale, like make the texture big or small?
Oh yeah, you just double click and you need to go to the parent. Go to the parent. And here, you see that this is an instance, but it already comes with a parent, and the parent is this one. So you just double click.
Okay, from here then I can.
From here, yeah, the tiling is this one.
Okay.
In here itself, you cannot change it, but you can do the texture coordinate command. I mean, the same command, texture coordinate.
Yeah.
And achieve the same. Just unclick from here. With control, actually, you can unclick and grab everything and just change in here. I don't know when I can. And hit apply, hit save, and then close. And then, as you can see, my texture change already is essence. Yeah, I'm changing it again because it's too much. But yeah, that's the way you can change it. Okay, what I was saying. Let's see. Okay. So there is another way to have materials, and this is from the Epic Games library. So now we're going to go to the Unreal Marketplace. That is the marketplace. If we have the Epic Game tab, we have now we have new samples, but we're going to go to the marketplace. And in the marketplace, there is loading because all the time is loading. But in the marketplace, what we're going to search is actually the Twinmotion materials. So we're searching, I already have it download, but we're searching this one, Twinmotion materials from Unreal. This one is the one that you need to search. Oh, now you can use it in 5.32. That's amazing after. Before it wasn't in 5.0. So this is the Twinmotion material for Unreal Engine. These are the materials, if you use Twinmotion, they're all the materials from Twinmotion to use in Unreal with the Unreal Engine quality for rendering. So Twinmotion renders very well when it's a fast render, and these are preset materials, and you just download, and then you need to add to the project.
Okay.
This is going probably to take a while because it's a heavy library, it has a lot of materials. And if I will add it to the project so you can see, I don't have to do it to add it. But if you want to add it, no, I cannot add it right now. You just need to add in here to the project, and then it's going to pop up in here as a folder called Twinmotion Materials, as a library, and you can have the whole library. Just take into account that the Twinmotion library is very heavy, so because our material poor quality, so if you download in your project and your project doesn't have a lot of geometry, but the materials is to be, then your Unreal file is going to be very heavy because of the library. So depending if you really want to test it first probably with this type of very easy geometries and see if there are a texture that you actually need to use, and then you can migrate only that texture to the project. If not, you will have like the big library.
And how do you delete the texture from the entire library if you want later?
You want to delete the texture?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to
There are
delete,
too
imagine that you don't want this, you just click everything and delete.
That's all.
That's all. Yeah. And as they told me today that the Bartlett closes at 6, we need to wrap up things in a moment. But until now, this is the beginner's lesson to Unreal. Still some more things for beginner's lesson that I need to teach you. But this is the most quick ones, and we need to see still reflections and why and how Unreal do reflections. And if you hit play now, we have our avatar running, and I have very pinky boxes. And this is what I have. I will put a material to my mountains. I don't know, this is going to take So I don't know if until now you have any questions. Yeah, they're going to close. Can you do it? Okay. Yeah. Any questions? That's all for today. Yeah. Where? As soon as I finish, I can close it now.
Also,